Hey everybody, Lesson 6 Part 4, Lesson 6 Part 4, Rec 250 Online. Lesson 6 Part 4, we're talking about the leader, the ethical boundary that surrounds the leader, developing good trust between facilitator and group, making sure that we understand how the interpersonal side of someone experiences growth. And in following up with the last lesson, if you turn to page 27 in your note packet, page 27 has a picture of a guy with glasses and gloves on and kind of a weird bodysuit, which I believe was very hip in the 80s. Shows that there are three sides to an individual when we're talking about learning and growth. You have the affect, which is the feeling, behavior, doing, cognition, thinking. The last model that we talked about, moral knowing, moral action, and moral feeling, very similar to this model on page 27. Affect, feeling, behavior, doing, and the cognition, just thinking. And all three realms must be addressed. But most important is the thinking, the understanding of why am I doing this? Why should I make a change? Because if we go back to the beginning of the summer session, we talked about one of the 5 things that must be present for learning with a facilitator in that leadership position is that what that person is doing must have real and meaningful consequences, real and meaningful intentions, or else they won't do it. If you think about the things that you do in life, chances are there's something meaningful behind it. There may not be, but chances are there are some things that you do that have meaning behind them, that there's a reason that you're doing them. There's a reason. So we must, as leaders, help people, not convince them of anything, but help people find out what their reasons are. What is their reason for being in your program? What is their reason for participating in the group? What is their reason or their place in the group? And so that they can start with a connection. So then they can feel what they need to feel and do what they need to do, completing the circle. Okay? That's just another way to look at the last model with a picture of a cool-looking guy with glasses on page 27. Affect, behavior, cognition. Okay? All three work, and as leaders we must facilitate to all three areas so that there's balance in the program. Remember we talked about the various classifications of a program? Recreation, therapeutic, educational, enrichment. Well, each program is going to focus on one particular area. A recreation-based program will focus more on the doing, the behavior, whereas an enrichment-based program will focus more on the cognition, the effect, and the behavior as a result, but more of the effect, the feeling, and the cognition, and understanding why you're doing what you're doing. And some of the best and most influential leaders in history have been able to clearly teach their groups why should they do something, why should they be different, why should they change their mindset, why should they do something different with their life. This is important. Now, every group that comes out and works with you, is this going to happen? Not necessarily, but you may find opportunities where you're going to focus on that cognition part and help people understand or figure out what's the why component for them. Why should they be a better person? Why should they be a better team player? Why should they be a better effective communicator? Because if there's no why, there's no glue. The learning needs the glue to stick. There's no why, there's no glue, and the feeling and the action are not strong enough to stay. Okay, and it's very similar in relationships. Okay, how long will you do moral feeling and moral actions if you don't have a reason to do them? Now you might say, well, the reason I do them is for the other person. Great. Okay. Whatever the reason it is that you need to be able to continue to do the behavior, that doesn't maybe always come natural. There must be a reason why. And good leaders provide opportunities for individuals to figure these things out. Okay? And I'm not saying that everything that you do with a group is really deep and interpersonal all the time. It's not. Okay? But these opportunities will present themselves. Okay? Lastly, I do want to let everybody know, and I usually do this in the first video, but I forgot. So, Chapter 23 is going to be your last reading assignment for class, Chapter 23. Well, I shouldn't say last, because I'll maybe put myself in the corner if I forgot any other readings. So let's just say it's getting close to one of the last reading assignments. It's Chapter 23, which is a chapter on professional ethics. Okay, it's a good read. So take a look at some of the things that I did not discuss. And you'll see some questions on your final. Please note that your final is cumulative. There'll be some questions that are carried over from the midterm. Things that I think that are important, that are good to be revisited. So be watching or be preparing for those as well. At this point, let me see, I'm looking here real quickly. And in looking at the last thing I wanted to say about ethics is that one way to really try to watch what we say and what we do, and this isn't so much as being culturally sensitive, we just need to be able to be palatable for all ages and all audiences. And you can do that and still be yourself. Okay? Because like I said before, you don't have to accept everybody's behaviors or everybody's ways of thinking for you to respect somebody. And so what we want to do is set something up, or set up a system for you that will help you stay in check. And one way to do that is to, when you're presenting, to think about that someone has a webcam on you or a video camera on you the entire time. And also to think about what I'm saying and what I'm doing, will it build trust or will it break trust? And having these two things in operation may act as a good way, not to stress you out, but may act as a good way to keep you from running into too many mistakes. Will you run into those mistakes and make mistakes? You absolutely will. But you know how to deal with them correctly so that the group is not damaged, or trust is not damaged, rather. So think about if somebody had you on videotape, chances are you go a little slower and think a little bit more before you act. Okay? And even though people are challenging you and annoying you, you'll do your best to keep your frustration levels down, because you know that you are being videotaped and you don't want to build, or you want to build trust and not break it. So those are just a couple tricks, a couple things that may assist you in your future leadership roles. But whatever you need to do, so you might already have your own system, just go out there and be the most ethical facilitator that you can. Build trust between you and the group, and you will see amazing things happen in your programs.